Oh, Halo Infinite, an open world spiritual successor to Combat Evolved, building on the sandbox gameplay of Halo 3. Halo Infinite. Halo fans haven't been this mad, wow, since Master Chief clapped them cheeks. And before then, there was the greatest cutscene in gaming history. I don't know. My point is, the Halo series and Halo Infinite in particular has not been getting the best of press lately. But what if I offered you an accord? What if I offered you an alternative point of view? Halo Infinite's campaign is not just better than you think, it's the best Halo campaign in the series since Halo 3. Now, I can already hear you typing furiously on your keyboards. Yes, I agree. As a whole, Halo Infinite has been nothing short of a disaster. The game's multiplayer and live service elements have been nothing short of a complete and utter failure. However, today I wanted to speak about the campaign in a vacuum. I feel like the single player successes have almost all been forgotten since launch because of the continued noise, discussion and negativity surrounding this game's post-launch features. Cast your minds back to fall 2021. After numerous delays, 343 Industries' third attempt at mainline Halo game was initially released to critical and fan acclaim. Just look at these review scores. It offered a franchise-first, open-world, single-player experience with a completely overhauled gameplay sandbox, bringing back a classic Halo art style. Importantly, when players finally got to sink their teeth into the game, they slowly realised it was not the next epic chapter in Master Chief's galaxy-spanning story, chock full of cinematic set pieces with a returning cast of fan-favourite characters. Instead, they got a self-contained story set in the backdrop of a small-scale guerrilla war, where the player is tasked with slowly building up the UNSC resistance to take the Halo ring back from the banished. This, my friends, is what made Halo Infinite such a breath of fresh air, but also what made Halo Infinite a complete misunderstanding for so many long-time fans. You see, Microsoft, Xbox, 343 really dropped the ball with the game's marketing. They completely mismarketed it, or missed the mark, if you will. I am willing to bet the entire conversation surrounding the game would be completely different if they simply added ODST to the title. Because that's essentially what we have here, a self-contained side story that ignores the universe-spanning consequences and scale of a normal mainline Halo game, where Chief is going from planet to planet, space station to space station.
Master, they outnumber us 3-1.
Then it is an even fight. All cruisers fire at will. Burn their mongrel hide.
The game really only has 3 main characters. You replace Chief with Jerome from Halo Wars and set the game on the arc, and boom, you have a fan favourite spin-off. But seriously, instead of a soft reboot, a modern reimagining of Halo Combat Evolved, Infinite is really just an open world remake of only one classic CE level, that of course being the second level, Halo. 343 essentially took the principles of that level: exploration, freedom, traversal, rescuing Marines, and built an entire game around it. In my opinion, the results are great, but only when you put them in the correct context. But let's get into the nitty gritty. When you finally enter the Infinite open world, Master Chief can build resistance against the enemy faction through taking back UNSC forward operating bases.
Chief, let's capture that fob. Fob Bravo is ready for liberation.
Rescuing scattered UNSC squads.
There's a squad of Marines nearby that need help, Chief. Marking it. Eyes up, Chief. More of them.
Clearing out banished strongholds.
Gotcha. It's an armory, which explains all the hardware, and all the banished who are about to try to kill you. It looks like the armory's down to only 3 functioning ammo printers. Let's bring that number down to a nice round 0.
And taking out key assassination targets.
We're in range of a high-ranking banished target, Inca Saham, a pretty vicious guy. Let's make him rethink his life choices. Target and crew neutralized. With Saham out of the way, the UNSC has one less monster to deal with.
Throughout your journeys in Zeta Halo, you can find different collectibles like audio logs and skulls, as well as upgrade materials to unlock new skills for your suit. Sound familiar? That's because I just described a Far Cry game with a Halo coat of paint slapped on it. My point is Halo Infinite's perfected gameplay sandbox elevates this design philosophy to an entirely new level of fun, and most importantly, it doesn't overstay its welcome. If Far Cry is Skyrim with guns, Halo Infinite is Far Cry but good. On a surface level, it can be mistaken for another Ubisoft-style checkbox open world, but upon closer inspection, its gameplay systems reveal something much deeper. It might not be the Elden Ring of the Halo franchise, but it's a lot closer to Halo's take on Breath of the Wild than most people would like to admit. The refined movement system alongside Halo's returning first-class arsenal of weapons means that even the most mundane open world activity is enjoyed in the most natural way. The grapple hook is the single most innovative addition to the Halo sandbox in over a decade. You can grapple guns from the ground, grapple jack enemy vehicles, and my personal favourite, grapple ground bound into a group of helpless enemies before emitting an electric pulse that freezes and staggers any stragglers. On paper, infiltrating enemy outposts seems like another standard Ubisoft-style busywork. In Infinite, it fills me with excitement because it's another opportunity to come up with new ways to bend the sandbox to my will. Maybe I'll go in quiet, taking out enemies from long range with a sniper rifle. Maybe I'll go in loud, spawning a Scorpion tank at a local FOB base before bashing down the front door. And maybe I'll just fill a Razorback with 5 Marines, each equipped with rocket launchers, and just let them go to town. The player creativity here is endless as it is refreshing. It really captures that special Halo feeling that Halo 4 and 5 just missed so much. You know, that feeling when the music starts swirling in, you see dozens of enemies on screen. You're just straight up murdering coveys as Marines become self-appointed hype men for the Chief.
Go, go, go! Love to watch you work, sir.
Random explosions, weird and probably unintended things happening with the physics engine, as some explosions send off some crazy chain of events. The The trash talking enemies are back, and even the grunt propaganda towers are a great addition.
Okay, you beat us. But did you do it on Legendary? Ha!
The deranged grunt spiels are a great reminder that at the end of the day, we're just playing a silly video game about killing aliens. Speaking of the propaganda towers, all you do with them is just blow them up to increase valor, and it's a perfectly simple objective for the open world. You listen to some grunt silliness, you blow them up. It doesn't try to overcomplicate the open world with activities that just have no place in Halo. No complex puzzles or NPC fetch quests. Pretty much everything you do involves killing aliens. The luscious green environments of Zeta Halo are a beautiful modern interpretation of the original Halo levels aesthetics. They perfectly juxtapose with the classic Forerunner architecture and the foreign banished infrastructure. It's only after 10 or so hours of playtime that you start to realise these environments and visuals are not really switching up. This lack of environmental variety is definitely one of the biggest shortcomings of the game. This is without a doubt a change of pace from the diverse level locations of prior Halo titles. I mean, Halo 3's levels alone include snowy mountains, deserts, jungles and urban areas. That's before you even talk about High Charity or the flooded areas. This lack of aesthetic diversity is only exacerbated by the fact that 90% of Infinite's linear levels take place in these claustrophobic Forerunner interiors that thematically all blend together like I'm playing one big long remake of the library. And this, my friends, is where Halo Infinite's campaign really falls short. The linear missions are just terribly lackluster. Missing are the huge set pieces that were a staple of the series of old, like the dual Scarab encounter in Halo 3. And in their place are hallway after hallway after hallway of enemies where there's never really enough room for the Infinite sandbox to truly shine. Of course, there are exceptions to this. The House of Reckoning is up there with the best Halo levels in history, and the road can definitely go toe-to-toe with the best vehicle sections of the original trilogy. Apart from that, the best thing I can say about these linear levels is they make going back to the open world more stimulating, and you know, I'm pretty okay with that. As Infinite is all about the open world, I'm totally fine with the linear missions being short, story-driven side dishes. Much like other Halo games, Halo Infinite is an extremely flawed game, but an incredibly enjoyable and unique one at that. The pure open world sandbox romp fully captures the spirit of Halo and makes it a more than worthy entry to the series. All I hope is time is generous to it and people can finally enjoy it in the context it deserves.